Over to Louisiana now, where two people have died after eating raw oysters. That, according to the state health department. Both deaths caused by that super dangerous flesh-eating bacteria that we've been telling you about called Vibrio. The state says at least 22 other cases of Vibrio have sent people to the hospital. Across the Gulf, in Florida, another 23 cases, resulting in 5 deaths so far this year. The bacteria thrives in warm coastal waters like the Gulf of Mexico. Most infections happen when you go swimming with an open wound, but it can also get into raw or uncooked seafood. We want to bring in NBC medical contributor Dr. Kavita Patel with more. So, Doc, it seems like every year about this time we're hearing about Vibrio. Is it seasonal, and how can we make sure that people avoid catching this potentially deadly infection?
Yeah, Tom, it is indeed seasonal, but I just want to warn you, Vibrio vulnificus, which is what causes these infections, can happen any time of the year. And the reason we see it in general, just here's some tips that kind of help you. The reason we see it between May and October is because those are warm coastal waters, and that's when you can see the kind of proliferation of this bacteria. How do you avoid it? Avoid eating raw or undercooked shellfish. This is raw oysters. I know that's popular, but it can be a source. Wash your hands if you're handling raw seafood. Avoid swimming in what we call brackish or salt water, especially if you have an open wound. Just don't do it. An open wound could be a new ear piercing, a tattoo, or surgery and recovering from surgery. And then immediately get in touch with a health professional, wash out those wounds, because that's how you can start getting that kind of flesh-eating problem, depending on how you get these symptoms and infections. Talk about that.
So talk about the symptoms then. What should people be looking for? What should they be thinking about? And when should they go to the ER?
Yeah, so great questions. And it's also hard to know. Could it be something else? Because usually you're swimming, there can be some other infections. We've talked about other things you can get. So here's some symptoms. Symptoms that you can get usually from food are the kinds of things you would think of: diarrhea, cramps, nausea, vomiting, fever, and chills. This tends to be a little bit more common, Tom. But then because of just this ability to get the infection in a wound, that's when things can get really serious. And unfortunately, you can see everything from fever, redness, pain. I've actually seen limbs that people have had to remove just because this flesh eating, the part that we're worried about, can get really quickly spread and can cause discoloration of skin. And you can also see fluid leaking from an open wound.
Wow. So the symptoms can be serious. Yeah. And of course, obviously the illness or the bacteria itself is very serious. Dr. Kavita Patel, thank you very much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
Absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next video. I haven't eaten raw oysters in a little while, but it's crazy to think it's in raw oysters. So I guess I don't need to be eating raw oysters for a little while. I'll just let it. But be careful, y'all. If you're going into, like they say, if you're going into waters, especially down there in the Gulf of Mexico, any kind of open wounds it can get into, just be careful. Be careful, absolutely. Ray, you said that the waters down here in Florida, where I'm at, all beaches are closed now. Wow, absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next video.
To Louisiana now, where a flesh-eating bacteria has now killed a 5th person in the state just this year. The bacteria live in coastal waters and can infect people through open wounds or when a person eats raw or undercooked seafood. And with the number of cases and deaths higher than usual, health officials are warning residents to take precautions. Let's bring in CBS News reporter Katie Weiss, who's live for us in New Orleans. Katie, what do we know about this unusual rise in cases so far this year, and how are people really contracting this dangerous bacteria?
Sure, Liz. Good evening. It's really a serious problem here on the Gulf Coast, especially this year more than previous years. So far, the Louisiana Department of Public Health says that there have now been 26 documented cases just this summer here on the Louisiana Gulf Coast, and 5 people have died as a result of this Vibrio bacteria that is known as a flesh-eating bacteria. You can get it more often in the summer months by going into the water with an open wound or a cut, in especially water that may be contaminated with this bacteria. And it happens more often in the summer months because it's warmer and the water has a better opportunity for the bacteria to grow and thrive. You can also, as you mentioned, you can get it by eating raw or undercooked seafood that might be contaminated by the Vibrio bacteria as well. While the majority of the cases here in Louisiana are a result of people going into contaminated water, still we know that 2 people have actually died as a result of eating contaminated seafood. So definitely something to keep an eye out on. Now, people who are immunocompromised really are the most at risk. So if you're taking certain medications that can make you more immunocompromised, if you're undergoing certain treatments, if you have certain diseases like cancer, diabetes, HIV, things of that nature, those are things that you need to be cognizant of, especially during these warmer summer months all the way through to October. Now, also in southern Alabama, so far there have been 10 documented cases, and in Mississippi, 3 documented cases. One man has even died there. Our affiliate here in New Orleans, WWL, was able to speak with the man's loved ones. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Along with having fun and fellowship, he also gave back a lot to the community. He was a good Christian and devoted a lot of his life to making our community and the coast a better place to live.
Certainly such a tragedy for all of those people who loved and knew that man. And it's so scary for anybody. I mean, here on the Gulf Coast, we love to go out and be in the water and boat. And so it's definitely concerning to hear that cases are much higher than normal. Again, on average, usually only about 13 cases a year. Liz?
And it's not just the Gulf Coast, Katie, but that we're seeing this problem. What other communities have been impacted?
Absolutely. All the way from down south in Miami and the Keys, all up the eastern coast, as far north as Massachusetts. Even some oyster beds have been closed as a result of Vibrio this year. So it's certainly an issue. Here's what an infectious disease doctor from LSU had to say about that.
And it's not just a Gulf coastal phenomenon any longer. Global warming is moving infections with Vibrio vulnificus up the East Coast. Cases are being reported in Connecticut, New York, much less in the Chesapeake Bay.
And some signs and symptoms that you might want to watch out for: watery diarrhea, stomach cramps, nausea, vomiting, and also look for redness and swelling, warmth on your skin if you've been in water that you think might have been contaminated. And again, if you're immunocompromised, be extra careful, at least through October, because that's when Vibrio tends to be more prolific. Liz?
Katie Weiss, thank you so much.
Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Now let's see. So looking at this, get over into here. See if there's anything else that we can find out about this whole situation. Like they mentioned, back it up a little bit. A 5th person has died in Louisiana from this. Vibrio vulnificus. See, I'm not good with names. It's a bacteria that occurs in warmer coastal waters, common between May and October. But you got to remember what they said. They said that it can happen in other places, other times of the year as well, and not just in coastal waters, or not just in the Gulf of Mexico or Gulf of America. About 1 in 5 people, with a Vibrio infection die. Wow, it is not clear how the person contacted the bacteria. The person has not been identified yet. So that's the 5th person. People can contact the bacteria by exposing it to open wounds and contaminated water, uncooked seafood, including oysters. And then 2 of them were who ate contaminated oysters. Let's see. It is not just so like they said, it's not just a Gulf of America, Gulf Coast phenomenon. It also happens on the East Coast. Louisiana has seen an average of 7 infections and 1 death per year. In 2025, officials documented 26 cases of the bacteria. There have also been 10 documented cases of the bacteria in Alabama and 3 in Mississippi. One of the Mississippi cases was fatal. CBS previously recorded of 13 cases of the bacteria in Florida with 8 deaths. Cases of Vibrio have been documented as far north as Massachusetts. Some oyster beds have even been closed because of the bacteria. Absolutely crazy situation, y'all. Absolutely crazy situation. Stay away from oysters. That's all I'm getting. Stay away from oysters. Be careful about what kind of water you step in, because you never know. You absolutely never know. It's a crazy situation. They said it's traveling. And he did mention something. He said global warming is making where infections are traveling farther. Do you believe in global warming? That is the question. Do you believe in global warming? I know some people don't believe that global warming is affecting us as much. Based on, I'm a scientist, so they say that it's been getting warmer and warmer. The evidence proves it. So I believe that something is happening. I believe global warming. I don't know if it's as bad as they say, but I choose to believe that global warming exists. The melting of the ice caps and all that stuff. But let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know your thoughts. Ray, I saw Ray. You said that the beaches down there are closed in Florida. Have anybody else been seeing any beaches being closed, or have they even heard about this happening? Because just me seeing this video was the first time that I've heard about this happening. I'm in South Carolina, so I don't really go down to the beach that much because I don't like the heat, but I haven't been seeing much about this anywhere. All right, everybody, remember this is AC Reviews the Word. Remember to like and subscribe.